everyone. Today we got to play Furnace, an engine building game by Ivan Lashin. So, before we get into it, don't forget to press the subscribe button and the notification bell because we're about board games here and that's what you like. So, Randy, tell us more about this particular board game.
So, Furnace is a 2021 release. We picked this up at Gen Con, but it is now available in stores, so you can get a copy of your own if you're interested. It has a rating on Board Game Geek of 7.4 and currently has a rank of 1,499. It's 2 to 4 players. We played 2-player tonight, and you had to have a variant to play it 2-player. It's 30 to 60 minutes. Age 12 and up. Probably could play a little younger. I don't like much younger.
No,
maybe like
there's
10
too
and
much
up.
iconography.
Yeah, I mean maybe like 10 and up if you.
Maybe if they have
levels.
strong iconography skills.
Is that a skill now? Do they teach iconography in schools?
Well, understanding symbols, they do tests on it all the time.
Okay.
How many tests do I have to do with that crap on there? It's on the math portion.
All right. Design is by Ivan Lashin. Art is Sergey Dulin, Marta Ivanova, Ilya Konovalov, Oleg Yarkov, Vadim Poluboryarov, and Igor Zarkov. Published by Hobby World and Arcane Wonders.
Those names, they threw you for a loop, didn't they?
Well, they were Russian, it sounded like.
They could be Polish,
They could be Polish or Russian, somewhere in there.
Ukrainian, maybe.
It's European, and I don't speak
Russia
European.
Russia is not necessarily in Europe.
It's partially in Europe, it is partially in Asia. It's Eurasian.
Let's talk about quality of pieces. So, beautiful mat that was not included in the standard edition.
That's not part of the game.
This is added on. You did get, so they are sort of shaped wooden things for the resources. This is somehow a barrel. I don't know why an octagon is a barrel. And it's yellow. I don't know why it's yellow. I mean, I guess it's gold in the whatever. And
it's
then
oil drum.
Yeah, but yellow oil drum?
Well, you can see it that way.
Well, maybe. Okay, and then you got your little iron bricks. Those are fine. Those are your standard wooden iron bricks. And then for your coal, they're black cubes.
We got replacements for all of those. So
yeah, we'll be using those in the future. Then you've got your little gear cardboard chits. I assume there was cardboard chit money that we didn't use.
Yes, we did not use it because it was really not good.
Yeah, then you have your player color pieces. I was gloves because I was white. Black, you get a top hat. That's kind of cool. Then you get your little bidding tokens. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 bidding tokens. I can't talk. Did the sleeves come with it, or did you just add the sleeves? No, I sleeved
them all because the cards are extremely thin. They're linen finished. They are linen finished, but they're extremely thin.
I'm testing you.
Yeah, they are really, really thin.
These are pretty thin.
Yeah.
These are pretty thin, guys.
It has one of the most interesting round markers I've ever seen. It seems like they put a lot of effort into designing this. As far as you just roll it down, you just rotate it down each turn, so you don't ever have to pick it up and move it. Doesn't seem real necessary, but it's kind of cool.
I mean, it's a cool little thing.
It's industrial-like, I guess, like the gear cogs.
Sure. So overall quality standard 5.
Well, it's. I mean, they did.
The cards are crap.
The cards are garbage. I mean, I do like the wooden markers, even though all they are is a circle with a 1, 2, 3, and a 4 on it. They're kind of neat because it's different. And I like the little cardboard tokens. These are completely superfluous. There's no reason for these to be in the game.
But they are pretty cool.
But they are cool.
But I mean, that goes to more to theme instead of quality, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you a 5.
All right, so let's talk about theme. So the theme is, I know there's oil.
No, it's industrial. I mean, it's.
You have coal, you have iron, you end up with oil. You also have little gears that you can change up for money.
There is absolutely no story in the book. It doesn't even bother putting a paragraph in. It's just, there's nothing. It goes, game overview is well, okay, I'm sorry. The players take on the roles of 19th century capitalists, building their industrial corporations and aspiring to make as much money as they can by purchasing companies, extracting resources, and processing them in the best combinations possible. I don't even consider that to be story. That's just telling you how to play the game. And there's one sentence maybe.
Well, I mean, and they're kind of broad stroke because you're really only dealing with steel, coal, and oil.
It's iron, really. It's not even steel.
Well, okay, iron.
Well, iron, coal, and oil. That's
it. So for me to say this is like a capitalist thing doesn't really... This is more of like a fuel market.
Yeah, it's completely layered on. It's an engine builder that is about the most generic type of engine building.
I mean, the art and stuff lends to that kind of age. But I will say they have a very negative viewpoint on industry because of all the small stuff.
There's a lot. Well, to be fair, back in the industrialization period, it was pretty bad. I mean, there were the standards that are in play today did not exist.
Non-upgraded building, it's like, oh, got these pretty beautiful skies going on. Then you upgrade it, and it's all like dark, cloudy, and smoky. So there's some, feels very. I mean, I understand Black said at the time. And then, so, I mean, I guess the thing is they stay with kind of this early industry theme. You got a top hat, you got gloves, you got a wristwatch, you got a wallet of some sort.
It's not a wristwatch, it's a pocket watch.
Pocket watch, sorry. It's a watch of some sort. And then, like, the first player token is, like, the filigree thing. I mean, it's very pasted on, guys.
This could have been anything. You're drafting cards, or not drafting, but you're bidding for cards, so you can build a tableau of actions, and you're triggering them.
Well, and it's like even then, like the resources, like how are you making coal into oil? And then how does steel...
Well, I guess you're powering the machines that you need to produce. Okay,
so how does iron turn into oil?
I believe that's metallurgy.
Okay, and then how does I guess you can sell the oil.
Mm-hmm.
I have but then there's like the little upgrades that you could sell. Listen, some of this, I understand where they were going, but some of it doesn't make any sense. So for theme, what are you going to give it?
I'm probably at a 5 on this one too. There's really...
Isn't that kind of generous?
No, it's... What's the theme of Catan? You're going to
at least I'm building
very
a
generic
city.
Island.
At least I'm building a nation. I mean, yeah, I guess, and the art's prettier. And this is where the art. Well, one side of the card's art is prettier.
Well, even the other side's pretty. It's just gloomy.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I guess when you take
I
that
love the colors of the sky that are in that.
Yeah,
pollution.
that one they did.
The pollution looks beautiful tonight.
So let's because art's included. What did you give it?
A 5.
Yeah, okay. Because the art is really pretty. I like that. So let's move on to the rule book. You read the rule book. How was it?
The rule book is very short. There's no page numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. Count in front and back.
Oh,
front is very generic. There's no art, just text. There's some small pictures showing you the components, and your setup is. This game was kind of odd because the setup, there's like almost no setup. It's basically player setup as far as getting your starting cards, and that's it. Everything else is just put in the piles up here. There's not a very big section on setup.
Well, to be fair, there's not a lot of setup. So to be fair, I mean, it's an easy take down, take up, or put out, take up game. So that's a bonus for those that don't like the hour of setup that other games take.
Right. So actual explanation of how to play the game is 3 pages long, and that's generous. It's probably actually 2.
Well, I mean, if you really don't need a lot for this.
No, it's very simple.
It's heavy iconography. Like you can read it, you're good to go. It's very simple. This turns into this. This turns into that. You get this for free. Like it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean the rules do a fine job. They're just not very attractive. I will go ahead and give it a 7. It's fine.
Okay, cool. All right, let's talk about gameplay. Gameplay is pretty straightforward. So we're just going to take my hand and put it up here because why not? We're on the wrong side.
Yeah, flip it to the other side.
Okay, so that's my starting card. Put that back. I need it for later. All right, so basically it's I'll keep this one. We'll be in round 2. All right. So basically it's pretty straightforward. Every person that's playing has a 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can choose to bid. Now I know that I really need this one because I'm getting a lot of coal and ore, so I decided that I absolutely want this card, so I'm going to place a 4 down. All right, but then it's Randy's turn, and Randy decides that maybe he needs some iron to play. And he doesn't necessarily want to win the bid, so
yeah, because if you don't manage to win the bid and somebody overbids you, you won't get the card, but you, as a compensation, you get whatever's pictured at the top of the card, the number of times that you put your tile for. So in this case, if I put a 3 and somebody later put a 4 on top of it, I will, whenever we resolve the cards, I will get 3 iron, and they will get the card.
Right.
So if you're deeding resources, that's a good way of getting them. Now, some of them will trigger actions instead of giving you resources.
But it's triggered in
order.
In order, so like sometimes you'll get iron later on, but if you don't have the iron where that card is played, then you can't do that action. So that's always kind of a bummer. Yeah. So it's always good to kind of stockpile resources for the next round sometimes. And then everyone plays out their stuff. Okay. Obviously, we take turns doing that. We don't.
Yeah, you would normally. Yeah, you normally do one at a time going around the table. If you're playing with 2 players, there's a variant where you have to have a random third player that you roll a die for, and you still only play with 6 cards. Whereas in the 3-player game, there would be 7, and the 4-player game there would be 8 in the table here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, we're missing a card here. Actually.
Oh. That explains a lot.
Yeah. So, I can't do that. Gotta make this mathematically work.
All right. Really hard.
So we would resolve this left to right. So yellow, being the only one here, would get this first card. The second one, I would get the card, but Miranda would get, yellow would get a be able to trade an iron for an oil if they chose.
Up to 1 time, because you can put a 1 on there. Now there are player-specific abilities, like mine increased it. When I get compensation, it would increase my thing by 1, and you go about there, but you refine. So every player does have a character-specific ability. Mm-hmm. I will say, because we played the two-player variant, I'm not a huge fan of the variant in the fact that there's not another player choosing those actions, and plus the way the rule
out
is.
Of play.
Yeah, it takes cards out of play, it's like, man, that random non-existent player wasn't going to use it. However, I did figure out how you kind of had to work it. Like, you had to put your 4 out. Then, where you hold your 3 until whatever they put, in our case, the off color is yellow, we wait till the yellows got put down, and then I'd be like, all right, where am I going to put my 3 to actually get the second card that I need? And that was the only way I was going to get a second card. And once I figured out that, I was a little less mad about the system. But the fact is, it's a system, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's, okay, well, then this, and then this, and then I have to do this. And that's kind of
I think it's definitely going to play better at 3 or 4. I did not care for the 2-player variant nearly as much, just because of sheer randomness of the die roll. So it's, you can kind of play your opponents in a game where you kind of know, well, based on what they've built, they're likely to go here, and you can play that. In this, there's absolutely no choice. It's random, so you have no idea what that die is
because and honestly, I couldn't even focus on you because the random of the die, like, it was a mute point.
Yeah.
So you couldn't just say, okay, well, they need that card. I'm going to put my 2 here, knowing that they're going to put their 3 here, which then locks up their 3, so I can go over here and do what I need to do over here. And so taking that aspect out of the game, I think really hurt the game. Now, is the engine building fine with this game? Yeah, it's fine. Some of the resourcing changing doesn't make sense, but with these games, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. You just change resources for another, and obviously do a minimal gain.
So the end goal is to get money in this. So basically, you're producing all these goods so you can ultimately change them into something you can sell. And you start out the game with no potential for scoring money.
Yeah,
really.
you do. I got one.
Well,
Right off
okay.
the bat.
Well, that's your card. Those starting cards are different. Mine
Oh.
didn't. Mine was not that.
Oh, you didn't have a money option?
No, I could. Yeah, I could. I could trade in the tokens, these gears, for money, but I had no way of producing them.
Well, why didn't you get the cards that allowed you to get gears? Because the first couple of rounds there were multiple of them, and
we didn't know what was going to be in the deck. I had no idea what the distribution of the cards was, and I needed product. I needed coal, and you took all the coal. You know, my special ability was based on coal.
But knowing what you knew now, I think you probably would have been.
I definitely would have played differently because I would have known I need to gather things that produced money. I was focused on producing production. I thought, well, I can eventually get money. I wasn't really worried about it.
No, but it matters because each
limited.
action is finite.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, oh, I turn all of my oil into money. No, you have to have an action that turns in. And I noticed that second round, and I think that's probably actually why I beat you, is when I realized. It was when I asked you, oh, money's in game, isn't it? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, crap, I need cards that make money. And so I think I discovered it around before you did or before you started acting on it. And I think that's the reason why I won is because that one round
Well, in round 2, you and I both had the same amount of money. It was round 3 you produced more than me.
No. First round I had...
We neither one generated money.
Right. In the second round I had 8 money.
And I did too.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
I thought you only had 4.
No, it was round 3 that you differentiated for me.
Right.
Because you ended up with like 30 money and I had like maybe like 20.
Well, that's because I got my 7.
As I say, that was really the differentiation. There was only one card in the game that even came up that had that kind of money.
That's not true. The other player took it.
The other player got it. Okay. I didn't see any. Mine were all 4 or 5 at the highest, and the 5 only allowed me to do it one time, and it was based on the gear, and I didn't have any gear production.
Right.
So it's all about maximizing an engine that is going to allow you to produce the things that are going to be valuable for selling. And my stuff was not worth as much. I was able to sell things, but I could sell them for $2 or $4. I couldn't sell them for $5.
Well, I had a lot like that though.
Yeah.
And here's the thing though, like the cards paired, like some cards gave you free stuff, like okay, here you get 2 free coal, and then you get to do this action to sell things. And then there are others where I'm going to let you convert one thing into another, and then I'm going to let you sell another thing. So I ended up getting quite a few. Oh, it gives me items and I get to sell for money.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't the same thing. So it's like you have to kind of, you're going to have to engine build.
Yeah, because the other thing is that the cards actually can be upgraded. So when you buy the card, there's some of the items.
I made sure I upgraded them right away.
Yeah,
I think I
so did I. That's why I burned through all my gears. So they had icons that were in black and white silhouette as opposed to being shaded in. Those icons are not active when you buy the card. You have to upgrade it, and your card you start with has the upgrade. That was the only one I ever saw. There might have been another one in there.
Well, yeah, that's the only one I saw.
But yeah, you had to use.
But it's an infinite.
Yeah, it's an infinite.
And it only costs you a coal and a gear.
Yeah, but gears were hard to come by.
Well, I mean, you get a gear every round, so it's like okay, I get a free up. Basically, it's okay. I get an upgrade each round. And then there were a couple actions that allowed steel into upgrades, and when that came along, I used like all of what I possibly could, even though I needed the ore for other things. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh no, these gears are pretty hard to come by, and that ended up that one action made sure I had enough gears to flip everything over and actually sell one at the end of game. So I guess I saw my opportunity and took it there.
Yeah. So I mean, the end result is it's a unique engine builder. I thought it was cool how it worked. There is a variant that I actually really want to try where you play the game and you put the cards in the order that you're going to play them, and you can insert or put them at the ends as you acquire them. But once they're in that order, you have to trigger them left to right, and that seems like it's going to be a lot harder. But you said you kind of played that way during this. No,
I played it. I played it exactly like that. I didn't move any of my cards around.
So as it turns out, it may not necessarily be any more difficult, but it sounds more difficult. But
well, I mean, my thing is like you typically end up picking out cards that you need based on your previous run. So it's naturally that you put them almost kind of at the end. However, I will say The second round, I actually inserted
Yeah,
two.
and that's perfectly legal even in that variant.
No, and that's what I was saying is like, well, most of the time you're pretty much, oh, okay, this is what I had left over, so these are the resources I need to use. Oh, if I pick up that card, that takes care of those things. So it's just if you end up bidding and getting the right cards to begin with, it just naturally flows through.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it was.
Yeah.
It's an interesting rule to kind of restrict it at the same time. Like I played it that way, and I didn't even mean to. It just was.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a unique engine builder. I've not seen anything like this. It's pretty simple. It's it's a very easy game to learn, but yet it's got enough meat on it that it's gonna, I think, hold up for a while.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd go quite a while. I love engine builders, so I enjoyed this game. I don't know, but I can't say I'm in love with this game.
No, I don't think it's real. It's not a real heavy engine builder, so it's not as satisfying as some of the heavier engine builders. But it's light and easy to teach. I'm sure this is something we could play with your parents. It's not something that's super difficult.
Yeah.
You play. The only problems with it is, one, you're playing simultaneously. So if you wanted to cheat, you probably could. So
yeah, but I mean, honestly, if people need to cheat to win, I'm very much the listen. If you need to cheat to win and it makes you feel better.
Well, there's also, if you've got an inexperienced player who doesn't know how to play, I mean, you almost have to break it out and do each person's in turn order just so you can.
Yeah, but I mean, you know who you're working with.
Yeah.
Do what makes sense for your group, guys. I like simultaneous play because it speeds up the game quite significantly.
Yeah,
so I like
someone has a tendency to jump ahead before the other people are done.
Well, listen, that's why I like simultaneously play, because I don't like waiting on people. My time is valuable.
So
I could fit in another game by the time I'm done waiting on people.
Yeah, I'm probably at about a 7.5 on this. Is where I think I'm at. It's a quick game. It's unique. It's small table presence. It doesn't require a lot of space.
I think I'm with you on a 7.5 for game mechanics. However, I will say my enjoyment is not a 7.5. The theme really kills me on it. I don't know if it's the theme or something in here is dragging me down on the enjoyment level. Because like solid gameplay, like that's fine. It shouldn't matter that these things don't maybe mesh well in my brain. It's a nice little engine builder. So mechanic wise, it's fine. I think it's 7.5. But there's something about it that doesn't quite give me that joy or satisfaction.
You really liked Coal Baron.
I did.
There's no difference in theme.
No, there is.
The art is the only difference. There's also okay, color palette, like that bright freaking yellow, and then these aren't oils. Like I have barrels. I print out barrels. I can print out more barrels, I guess. I don't know. There's just something about just. Maybe I'm in a weird mood. It's very possible I'm in a weird mood, guys. I mean, I just didn't gain as much enjoyment out of this as I typically do with engine builders. So. Well, I think the 2-player variant was part of the problem.
Oh, I know. I was very annoyed the first 2 rounds because I couldn't figure it out.
I definitely would rather play this 3 or 4, but yeah. I'm basing on what I saw of the game and assuming a 3rd or 4th player in there. I think it will be about a 7.5 is what I'm thinking. For the 2-player variant, I'm probably more of a 6.
I could agree with you. I think what may have killed my enjoyment was dealing with the variant that first 2 rounds. Now, once I figured it out, I wasn't that bothered by it, but it was like, okay, I figured it out, but there's only a set way to do it, and I didn't like that. And I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think 3-4 players, this will be fine, and I will enjoy it a lot more. But with the 2-player variant, it just, it lacked a little luster for me.
And generally, if I see a 2-player where you alter the rules of the game to make it 2 players, I'll put the game back. And I was very close to doing that, except for the fact that it said you got the compensation when you didn't get the card, and I thought, well, that might counter it. It does counter it. It doesn't counter it enough to justify the randomness.
No, I'm fine with the compensation thing. I just don't like having a non-player at the... and it's funny, though, is you see this in other games, and it doesn't bother me nearly as bad when you encounter some of the things that you block off stuff. This one just bugged the crap.
Well, generally you block it off in advance, so you're blocking something and you can't take that space.
Right, and
this one you play your token thinking, well, now I got a shot at this card, and then it takes over that card.
Right, because like there's one card like you didn't need, and the player doesn't exist, and so I'm putting, you're right. I think that's probably I think that's probably what it is, guys. I think I didn't like the variant there.
Yeah, I that's why I'm trying to take that out of the equation, pretending there was a third person, and I think I would like it more.
I agree with you. I'm right there with you.
So, given that, I think 7.5 is a fair score for this. I think it's got enough meat in it. It's going to be easy to get to the table, quick engine builder, and there's not very many of those.
It took us less than an hour. I mean, this is fine.
It's a Wonderful World would be kind of that.
Please don't compare
but I would
this.
not. This is
don't
nowhere,
compare this to Wonderful World. Like,
but that's kind of an engine builder.
That is way better. No, you can't.
I don't disagree with you. That's way better.
Don't put. You're gonna really put this game down by comparing it to It's a Wonderful World. Now, come on, that's not.
But
fair
I
to
know.
this
I
game.
think this has got its own. It's got its own merits. It stands on. I mean, it's got the bidding aspect, which is unique. The compensation aspect is very unique.
But it's like showing off like a dive into a crappy.
It's not crappy. You keep saying this is crappy. It's not crappy. It's a
no,
fun
it's not.
game.
It's not. It's really. It is a 7.5. It is a fun game. I think you're right. I think my problem was with the variant. I don't think we should play this at 2 players. I think at 3 and 4 it will be fine.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we appreciated having you. And hopefully you'll like to join us again. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.